So let's keep it going. Last time we talked about the idea that people tend to think that they cannot be emotionally available or expressive. And the idea that emotions are just feelings and they can be shown not only in the words that we speak but also in our actions. So we're showing our emotional expression, and it's coming out as anger, it's coming out as rage. It's still an emotional expression. It's just you probably choose to stay on one spectrum versus the other. So you are always acting out in a negative way versus the more positive ways. And again, like I said last time, it could just be the fact of protection. You could just be protecting yourself from being too invested too quick and from being hurt. So moving from that, I wanted us to discuss in this series the idea that you have individuals who are going to level up and grow in order to meet the needs of another person, the person that they're with. And when you have those who will not, it's usually because they've taken on that identity again, like we said in the previous weeks. So to deviate from this, it means to change. So let's talk about the fear people have about change, because people are usually afraid of change because they're afraid of being manipulated or change to the extent that they become an entirely different person. And to do that based on somebody else's desires, yeah, people not feeling that. Because it's like you're expecting me to grow and level up and change to meet your needs. And surely I'm not suggesting that people can change their partners, but you can inspire them to grow, absolutely. But they're not going. A lot of people do not like the idea of growth because it's change. And it's like I feel like I'm a puppet now and I have to be in control. I got to be the man. I have to be the woman. I have to be a free thinker. I have to be the one who's in control, or I have to be in control of who I am. So again, you have a fear because they're not in a state to where they can understand that someone else is coming along and maybe touching your heart in the way that encourages you or inspires you. Look at it from the perspective that here it is, you have a partner who's encouraging you and inspiring you to want to be better, want to do different. It's not the same as somebody manipulating you. Your partner wanting the best for you and wanting you to be a better version of yourself is not manipulation. You know the person's heart. So maybe you haven't experienced what it takes to bring yourself from point A to point B, and maybe your partner has. They've probably done the work and they've been on their own self-improvement journey. So them giving you that advice or stepping in to help you figure things out and take that journey with you, that's love. It's not them trying to control you. So it's like we see what's projected in society and on social media and on TV, right? With our friends and our own social groups, and we see what's out there. And some of us are just afraid of it happening within our homes. We see the manipulation out there that's possible. We done seen our friends get played by so many partners of theirs that we're afraid that if we even do any kind of growth, be different in some way, no, I can't change. I ain't gonna change who I am for nobody because I'm not gonna be played like Keisha was played because her man played her. But whatever happened to Keisha doesn't have to happen to you. Your partner could just really want to see you do better. So if they're giving you suggestions and advice, it's okay to use your discernment to take that advice. Keisha don't have to be you, right? You know what I mean? It's like you have to be open to receiving love and constructive criticism. You have to be open to receive wisdom, open to learn, open to give knowledge as well as drop knowledge as well. It's a give and take in relationships. Not everybody's trying to play you. Not everyone's trying to be the top dog. It's like that's what everybody's so concerned about. Who suffers more than the next? It's just projection, really. Projection, ignorance, arrogance, selfishness, all of those things. Because again, these things are our armor. This is how it's It's like, we don't want to be weak. We don't want to be an idiot. God forbid if we have to feel that way, right? Because that's like a scarlet letter for us to be shamed publicly in front of our peers. It's like we hurt our own pride, our own egos. We lose our dignity. So it's all of those feelings contribute to our fears of change and transformation. We feel like we're going to lose respect in our social groups or out in the streets. You're not going to lose respect, really. Some of us are afraid to be called out, right? I see a lot of couples break up, and when you break up, you have those who as a newly single person, and I'm going to hear a bunch of, I told you so, I told you he wasn't nothing, I told you she wasn't nothing. And so that fear is from that. It's from the reputation that we have within our peer groups. That's why a lot of us and people are afraid of changing and transformation. But you have to be willing and evolved enough to see the main point. You shouldn't care what your friends think about how you look. And you should be changing and transforming who you are for you. Because what this person is asking of me isn't harmful, isn't toxic. It's something that can actually contribute to my self-improvement. I see this a lot with a lot of masculine energy individuals. They have a really big thing about being played. So it's understandable. But we can't do better if we don't want to be better. You have to want to be better. Another thing is that now when we're dating, everybody is so stuck on being superficial. Because I get it. People don't want to take a risk. But it's not wanting to change or evolve at all. All because you don't want to be manipulated. Oh, I can't be played. I can't be tried. If I stay at surface level, if I stay superficial and I don't get so deep with this person, they're not going to know too much about me. If I don't share too much information, if I don't open up, I keep myself on guard. And if I keep it small, I'll be safe. So your fear of change is because you want to feel secure. It's also a defense mechanism. It's like you have this illusion that, I need to stay safe. I need to keep myself protected. Then this same individual who's afraid of change because they want to feel safe and protected so they don't get played, this same individual, though, is the same one who wants to be loved, and you want to be loved correctly, right? Because you're so quick to tell another person what they're not doing for you and what they bring to the table. And you want to be loved correctly, you want to be loved completely. But how can I, as the other partner, love you completely and show up for you, and you only have me coming in with one foot in the door? You won't even let me completely step inside to love you properly. So you're giving me half the space, but you want maximum effort and you want maximum results. And it's very unrealistic. So when you're going on these dates and there's surface level conversation and superficial conversation, what connections are you really expecting to receive? Honestly, you're always going to be on guard because maybe your last relationship was a 7-year or 7-month relationship and they cheated. So now for several months, you're not going to trust this person because it happened to you before. And if the other person lied to me after 7 months, it's going to take you at least more than 7 months to get my trust. So now if they make it to 9 months, maybe I'll start to trust them, right? And then it continues. So when does it stop? I've seen people be in 10-year relationships and it still doesn't work out. I myself was in a 15, 16-year marriage. Didn't work out. A lot of things came to surface. And you're not going to be exposed to every horrible situation that comes out of a relationship. It's never the idea of safety. You could be with somebody, like I said, I was in a 15, 16-year marriage, okay? And there's things that even came up to the surface towards the end of that marriage. It comes out of nowhere, left field. Yes, over the years, things pile up and, there's no certainty is what I'm saying. So if that's what you're waiting on to start growing up and leveling up and growing in love with someone, if you're waiting for a 100% success rate with no kind of setbacks, no kinds of difficulties, if you're waiting for that, I'm here to tell you, you probably just don't need to be dating ever. And I'm just being real talk. Because some of you guys have this expectation that I'm waiting for the perfect circumstance to get with someone. It doesn't exist. You have to be able, and a lot of people are not able to do this, but you have to be able to sit back for a second and look at things in a third party perspective. Even though this relationship didn't work out and I was in a very long relationship, that does not mean that this baggage or this hurt that I experience has to trickle over into the next relationship as residual mistrust. I don't have to be so on guard in the next relationship just because this one didn't last 7 years. So now I got to be insecure in the next relationship for 7 years at least. And then I'll feel safe enough to start growing with my partner in love and opening up to being a better person or a better partner. No. First of all, when it comes to change and transformation, you should just do it for the sake of you. If not no one else, for you. That's number one. And if you along the way meet someone, get a partner, and there's certain things that they, little things here and there that could be changed around to make the relationship function better, and it's something that could also make you better in the process, learn to motivate yourself and have that self-esteem enough to say, you know what, shoot, I want to take this on. Let me try doing that. And it doesn't have to be something where, she changing you and you becoming a puppet. Oh my gosh, because you're starting to drink vegan smoothies and you was never doing that before. And she's manipulating you. They're trying to change you and control you. It doesn't have to be. Maybe you just have to get to the point that you want to feel better. And maybe this vegan lifestyle that she introduced me to is working for me. And I'm liking it. Be open. You can be open. Nobody's trying to manipulate you. Yes, there are some who will do that, but that's just life. What are you going to do? Turn down every suggestion and every advice anyone else gives you? Don't do this. You don't know. Just try it. And that just comes down to your own discernment. You have to just have good judgment. But if you think you're just going to have this mentality of I'm just never going to do it so that way I can stay safe and never get played, and you have this fear of change, period. Come on, we change at our job place. I've seen people change at their workplace. The workplace implements a new change and I've seen guys on it. What is a happy relationship not something that's valuable or worth it? Just try it sometimes. Especially, like I said, if it's not something toxic, clearly. And that's where judgment comes in. I'm not saying play a fool. But take in suggestions that are that are helpful to you, that are conducive to your health. There's nothing wrong with that. If it makes you a better person and it's something that you've thought about or considered, or maybe you've never considered it, it doesn't hurt to try it. Even if your partner is the one who encouraged you to do it, even if your partner is the one who inspired you to do it, they should not be the one forcing you to do it. But at least if they're encouraging you and inspiring you to do better or do something that's different, be open, because it's a relationship. If it's something that goes against your morals, clearly, then obviously that's an exception. Like, let's not play like I gotta go through all the exceptions. Judgment. Use your discernment. We're all grown, hopefully, listening to this podcast. So that's don't let one relationship affect the other. That's all. You just have to learn whatever lesson from each relationship and apply it to yourself and your own improvement. Even if the person betrayed you, mistreated you, you have your moment where you may be sad about it, sure. But the point is to learn from it. And it's usually a you-centered question. What part did you play? What can you do to be better? So that way in the next relationship in the future, you can be a better person, be more aware. Maybe you need to be more realistic, more practical. Whatever it is, you have to figure it out. It's a you-centered issue. Even if the person cheated on you, whatever it is, look for that you-centered question of what you did to contribute. Maybe you ignored red flags. Whatever that is the issue that is your issue for you to work on. And it doesn't mean that you're to blame for the relationship ending. You're just learning from the hurt so you do not repeat the same mistake again, and you don't carry that residual pain into the next relationship, which will cause you then to be afraid of any change or growth. See the connection? So we're easing and we're sifting through the fear of change and transformation, finding that root cause. Why are we afraid to change in a relationship? Why are we afraid to let our guards down? Because someone else hurt us. We've seen our friend get played. We don't want to be played. All of these influence your decision and your fear of change. We need to fix that, because when you are in the next relationship, you don't have to project that onto the other person. You don't have to always be on guard. You can just have discernment. That is the key. Good judgment. That's why healing is so important. That is why it's important to understand yourself on a deeper level, to understand why you do the things that you do, why you allow the things that you allow while you're around other people. Why do you not go after opportunities when they're presented to you? What is the real cause of that? Analyze yourself again. You're doing this to show yourself grace. You're not blaming yourself, because you have nothing to blame yourself for. You can just take accountability for your actions or inactions, your responses. And taking accountability doesn't mean that you have to be the person who's at fault completely or the person who did wrong. It's just, like I said, focusing on how your actions and your responses or inactions, that's it. You're constructively criticizing yourself so you could come out a better person, a better version of you. So that's where I'm going to leave it. As a recap, we dived into the first week of what love is, right? How difference of definitions within relationships can lead to misunderstandings and can cause us not to be as flourishing in our relationships because our definitions of love do not align. So first we need to have that conversation as to what love is for the two of us. Can we then provide each of our partner's definition of love? Can we do all those things, or most of them? Can they do that for us? Then we dived into understanding that this is allowing you then to put yourself in a position where the things that you cannot provide, are these really things that I'm choosing just not to provide, or is this who I am? So we learned how to separate and understand ourselves enough to understand that what we do and what we feel are just emotions and actions. They are not who we are as people. Example, you could be a very submissive type of person, or always angry all the time, always yelling, always frustrated, always enraged. Doesn't mean that that is who we are at the core of our souls. It is just how we express our frustration, our anger, disappointments. Our behaviors are expressions of our emotions. Then the next week, we continued on from that conversation to how we emotionally express ourselves, and the idea that everyone is capable of being emotional. Emotional doesn't have to be dramatic. It just means that you're capable of expressing emotions, whether negative or positive, and it's through our behaviors as well, not only the words that we speak. And we can show up for our partners in the way that they need us to. And that's where we have this idea of change. But to understand the idea of change, we have to figure out the root cause of why this fear exists. We have to understand why we're so afraid of changing and transforming into our best versions of ourselves. Because we're afraid, we're scared, we don't feel secure in that. So we have to correct that in order to change for the better, so we can show up for our partners better, and we could reach and tackle all those ingredients that make up that definition of love. And once we succeed at that, then we'll have a more stable foundation for our relationship. And our partner should be doing the same thing as well. Our whole body physiologically changes. And so all of us have the capacity and the capability of harnessing all these different types of energies and emotions. The goal is, how are you going to deal with it? How do you flow through it in a healthy way? So that's how everything connects to lead us to our transformation as individuals. So that's going to be it for the series, and then we'll move forward in the next episode with an entirely different topic. All right, see you guys later. Bye.